sometimes you're at a loss where you gotta work from scratch. And sometimes with pricing and dealing with other different vendors, you don't have to pay the OEM, because the OEM is also shopping too, and they have to hit a certain margin and markup, so they put a high number on it sometimes. That's a lot of money. There's shipping, there's rigging, there's using another facility. That's a lot of hands in the pot kind of a deal. So a lot of times what happens, the engineer will go, out to the machine, they'll see the name on the side of the machine, and they'll call the builder or the OEM. And then they'll start telling them what their problems are, what they're finding, kind of a deal. And then, they'll give the serial, they'll see what it is, and then they'll say, oh, you need this part, this part, this part. And then they get sticker shock because it's the OEM. And like this example, the customer called the OEM to get a new replacement screw and 2 nuts. And I think all said and done with 2 nuts and this, I think it's like 25 or 28,000, but they wanted like 18 to 20 weeks of a lead time, something like that. It's normally a long drawn out lead time, to where we'll pull it in, do a reverse engineer, get the material in, and start working on it. And normally we can get that lead time down. Sometimes there's a lead time too, because there's multiple parts. There's a material lead time to it as well. There's a lot of factors to it. But majority of the time, our solutions and our fixes, like instead of making everything out of bronze, we can actually chase the actual screw itself, and then we'll just oversize the nut and shoot Mowgli's in it. That's one economical way. You're able to use some existing pieces. You're able to take care of some of the other items that they currently have, reuse them, and repurpose it. Every time you repurpose it, you always save money because you don't have to reinvent the wheel or start from scratch. That's normally how that kind of works. But sometimes you're at a loss where you gotta work from scratch. And sometimes with pricing and dealing with other different vendors, you don't have to pay the OEM, because the OEM is also shopping too, and they have to hit a certain margin and markup, so they put a high number on it sometimes, and that's just the name of the game, where we kind of tailor into price. We try to be within the realistic scope of it. That's the thing. Like, we understand what the OEM is charging, and we're not going to be there. But at the same time, there could be a lot of units to it. There could be a lot of machine process to it. There could be just certain things that we can't get over that, we're going to do. With pricing, 9 times out of 10, we're always more economical, because the one thing that we really set aside, like what sets us aside, is that we can do we could repurpose a lot of the items. So if it's like remachining the bed and recasting the tables, that's a huge savings, because sometimes they want to pull the machines out and actually put them up on another machine and machine them. That's a lot of money. There's shipping, there's rigging, there's using another facility. That's a lot of hands in the pot kind of a deal. When you're talking about repurposing some of the items, like, hey, we can come on site, we can set up our machining system, we can machine it right then and there. You already just took out the rigger, the shipping, that's cost savings. Some of the other stuff that we get in, like with parts, like these tubes, we're reusing the housing. We're still, as long as the phenolics still stuck on there, we're just necking it down and putting the Mowgli's layer. That's reusing it. Same thing with the liners over there. We could pull off the old liners and put a new liner on. You're not getting new parts all the time, as long as they're salvageable. Sometimes we may need to rework the piece, but it's still cheaper than making it out of metal and start from scratch. But sometimes you're left at the point of no return, like it's that far bent or it's physically broken. Then we can make those pieces and have the means to do that, which is nice. That's kind of like that in a nutshell. Now, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about a machine, like let's just say the full machine, and they want to pull it out and go to somebody and actually physically get it machined, it all depends on machine to machine. But if you're talking like some of these jobs that we have in like some big Ingersolls, you're talking millions, And some of the components that would take to rebuild, like from the OEM, would charge like over $1 million or so. Some of our cost savings that we can do with doing it on site, you're at like a fraction of the cost of that. You know, so we can go in there for like $250,000, $300,000 to do that type of work, which is nice, you know? But that saves a lot of, you know, you're saving a lot of time with shipping and rigging and putting it up on another machine. The biggest thing you're saving though too is downtime, because you can do it right then and there. That's the biggest selling point that makes customers like, wow, if you eliminate all that factors, you just know you saved that time. That's just a no-brainer.